Hey, we back, the Three Musketeers. Actually, little side note on that. I really wanted to name my son D'Artagnan, but my wife was so against it. And everybody I tell that to, they always say that it's a bad name, but I love that name. It's such a great
Yeah,
name. It's so
it's a
epic,
dope ass name.
and it's like the leader of the Musketeers, bro. Like it's just so epic, like OD epic.
You ever see Man in the Iron Mask?
Oh, I love that movie. I
It's
love
a
that
great.
movie.
Yeah, I love the story.
Y'all ever
I love
seen
it.
The Count of Monte Cristo?
Yeah, for
I
sure.
haven't seen
For
that
sure, for
one.
sure.
Bro, that movie is super fire. I read the book when I was little, and then they made the movie like in '07 or something like that, and the movie's really good too.
Yeah, there's so many different adaptations to Three Musketeers. Like not a lot of people don't know about.
Oh yeah, facts, and like different versions of like it's like almost like a multiverse type thing. Like there was like things going on like during the Musketeer story and different stories of the Musketeers and stuff. Yeah, that was always something that I really liked when I was younger. Remember the Men in Tights?
Oh yeah, Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Classic. So last week we didn't have Quincy here. Um, we wanted to definitely catch up after the holiday. We haven't really spoke to you about the trip to Georgia that I took, that we
Mm.
were together and we recorded some music. We had like some family time, some chill time, like did a little bit of everything.
Inside
Like,
Your Mansion, MTV Crib
yo,
style.
facts.
Yeah, no, it was cool, man. It was great to have y'all out here, man. And I saw the kids enjoyed it, so that was dope, man. I know you didn't. I don't know if you mentioned it previously, but we went to the Stranger Things experience. That was pretty dope. Yeah, man, it was just a interesting weekend because it was just like it was nonstop. Like it felt like it kind of just flew by, and like that was dope. But aside from that, man, the music stuff was super dope, man. It felt like old times. We kind of got started working on our track, and it just was like the flow was just there. I think we went. That was the only beat we listened to. We got right to it, So
Yeah, and that was kind of crazy too, because that was after I got there. Like we had just finished driving for like 7 hours.
yeah,
We pulled up, we kind of like settled in a little bit. We went to the studio. He showed me because I hadn't been to his house before, so he just showed me around and stuff. Once we got into the studio, we just kind of randomly started working on something, and we were up till super late.
I haven't heard it yet too. I'm still waiting to hear that shit.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
man.
real rough right now. It was actually the track that I was working on yesterday. Like getting like the session cleaned up and everything, and then within the next day or two, I'm gonna record my vocals. So we'll have something for you.
Yeah, for sure. And we
Nah, that's
just
dope.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was gonna say if y'all want the breakdown of everything, because I know Lester also mentioned Vampire Diaries and that whole experience in the last episode. Lester broke it down, so y'all tune in there if y'all want to hear how that whole experience was. Go ahead, Quincy.
Yeah, nah. Yeah, I mean the whole city that I live in is kind of that's like a huge breadwinner for the city. It's crazy how, tapped in. And the show is old, you know what I'm saying? The show is like, I don't remember when it stopped, but people still just now finding the show and getting hooked to it. So it's pretty dope to see how the city continues to make money off of that. Um, but yeah, going into the song, we actually while he was here, we recorded that song, but we also did some content for the song we already have out, Down For Me. So if you haven't heard that yet, definitely tap in Down For Me. We got the video coming real soon. Just got the, I guess you could say the 85% done version of it, and it's looking real good. So yeah, man, what you got anything to add to that, Les?
Yeah, man. I definitely wanted to shout out Gonzalo at Vogus Gents, man. I
Mhm.
tapped in with him with my last shoot. It's crazy because I've actually known him since we were in middle school. Like I met him in middle school, but he went to a different high school, so we never really reconnected. And then I saw he was doing the styling thing, and we just connected through a photographer that we both work with. Shout out to Two Times the Shooter, and yeah, we just connected through that. He styled my last shoot. Everybody loved it, and I just love the experience because, like, I consider myself somebody that stays a little bit on the trends as far as like the fashion goes and everything. But there's like a whole science behind it that, like, just like soaking in that knowledge from him, it really just opens your eyes, like how much more there is to dressing than just like being able to pick out dope looking pieces. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Facts.
And that's something even that Freddie was talking about when he shot the video is how much more confidence we were like showing in the video, and it wasn't like the video itself had any elements that were different in the sense of it's something that's going to make us feel more confident, except for the fact that we were styled right. We had the right vibe for where we was at. We were super confident in the
Would you
song.
say that's the first time you took that approach and doing the shoot? Because I saw the little clips, I saw those when the stories posted, and the like everything matched the environment, the fits, type of song it was. So that like the first time you went like full blown trying to get the whole aesthetic look down for a shoot.
Yeah, man. Funny story. Me and Quincy were actually talking about this on the phone earlier. You know Conan, the wrestler from back in the day?
Oh yeah, the
And
Barbarian.
you remember what's his name? Disco Inferno, the one that used to kind of look like John
Yeah,
Travolta.
yeah, yeah.
So they
That's
have a
exactly how it is,
podcast,
man.
right? And I dropped the
Nah.
song probably like maybe like 3 years ago, and I submitted the video for them to review the song because
And
they
they
do it like
reviewed
a
it?
little segment. Yep, they reviewed it, right?
Shut up.
So they listened to the song, watched the video, they gave their review, and they gave it the thumbs up, like, which was super dope. But the critique was, and mainly from Disco Inferno, he was like, "Yo, everything's dope." You know what I'm saying? Like the ladies dancing in the video, the locations, the song, the production value, everything's there. But he was like, but this guy looks like he went to Marshall's and just grabbed like a shirt that you would wear to the club or something. And he just
Oh,
grabbed a whole
shit.
bunch of those shirts. Like, you don't look like nothing, this and that. And I thought it was hilarious. Like, you know what I mean? Like the way he said it and everything. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. But I didn't really click in my head. You know
Yeah,
what I
how much
mean?
it mattered.
Mhm.
Exactly. Like it didn't really click in my head exactly what he said. And at the time, I even told Quincy, and we were kind of laughing about it, and we just kind of brushed it off. But now working with Gonzalo and really seeing and feeling the difference that it makes, and even just how much it adds to just the overall of everything,
Yeah.
like it really has clicked in my head, like how important that is. You know what I mean? Like
But that's something I can relate to 100%. Like literally, we were talking about this shit today at work. It's about the presentation. It's about how the quality 100% all around, how you like how the colors match, how everything's consistent, everything blends. It's like it's something that you need to focus on no matter what you're doing. If you want to be professional or you want to show quality, you have to be consistent in everything you do and just like, exact with it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. I feel like even this year, just as an artist, I've been getting to a point where I'm kind of connecting all the dots. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like even me and Quincy were talking about it. Like when we first dropped our first project, that was 4 years ago. I don't know. You said like three and a
Yeah,
half,
about
right?
3.5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, like 3.5. So how far we've come from there, like it's night and day.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
just
big time, back.
Mhm.
Big time.
And we've even noticed it with the content that we've been doing. Like we got a lot of the photos back and the clips for the video, and it just looks so different than when we first did our stuff. Like,
Yeah.
and it's
Mhm.
just like the confidence comes all around. Like it just oozes out of you when like you're confident in the music, you're
Big yo,
confident in what you're wearing, you're confident in how
for
you're
real.
approaching it. You know what I mean? When everything just kind of comes together, you're just in that perfect zone.
Yep. You feel the difference.
That shit shows too. And shout out to Quincy because he hadn't remember we went through the shows and we talked about how he hadn't done it so long and then y'all worked on Down for Me. And I remember when the conversation was like, Quincy, shoot your Down for Me verse, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And he did it, and that shit looked like he's been doing it for the last 10 years without even taking a break. Like just the swagger and the confidence and the presentation, like that's all it shows. Doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. If you show it, people are gonna think you've been doing it for a long time.
That's real.
And I also think that's a dope thing as far as it really ties in like what we're talking about. Like he's super dope at rapping, but just being super dope at rapping is not gonna do anything. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Until you make all those connections, none of it's gonna matter. You know, because I feel like I've always been a super dope songwriter, but I didn't know how to portray the songs that I was writing in the most appealing way. You know what I mean? Until I could connect all the dots, it didn't that potential didn't reach what it was supposed to reach. And
Right.
that's hitting every angle. You can't just try to attack it from one angle. Like even the other day I posted something where I was just saying you can't build anything from the ground up without sacrifice.
Mhm.
Oh,
That
no, big
means,
time.
you know what I'm saying? And that
That's how
means
I am.
you got to put in that work, you got to spend those hours, you got to really,
Yeah.
push through the
I was literally talking about wifey with that today, and it's like, and you guys know how I put in extra hours when I have to put in extra hours. You know what I mean? And she does the same thing. And we're in completely different industries, but it's like when you want to be as good as you are, and you are as good as you are, you're gonna have to make some sacrifices to be continuously putting out how good you are for something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It takes a sacrifice, and if you really are as good as you are, you're gonna be needed. You're gonna be wanted. People are gonna work with you. People are gonna want things from you because they can rely on you because you're so good at what you do.
Yep. And even from the perspective of 3.5 years ago, when Lester and I was working on that project, we did a whole, what I'm saying, project worth of music, but didn't give the songs the same tailored attention as far as the videos, the promo, the everything, even just photo shoots. We didn't do anything like that except for the album itself. And even that, which we were talking about earlier today, like if you look at those pictures and kind of what we were wearing and stuff like that, and what we were wearing for this shoot that we did a couple of weeks ago, it's just totally different. It's like I feel like Wentworth had the potential of a great project, but we didn't have the same approach to the project.
Yeah. But that still seemed professional to me, and that's before I knew you guys personally. It seemed like a professional project. So you guys showed what it takes to make a project like that.
Yeah, because I feel like that's really important too, especially as an artist. And this is something that has been like the Peter Griffin. You know what really grinds my gears?
You know what grinds my gears?
Yo, I hate with a passion when people ask me to come record, just like it's just that easy. Like, hey, can I just come record? Like, I want to try this or whatever. It's like, bruh, there's a process for this. You know what I mean? I take this real serious, like real.
You sacrifice shit for that.
Exactly. So I take this too serious to play around in here with somebody just because they want to feel like, oh, I could be a rapper or a singer for a day. You know what I mean? And it's been
Get some Instagram pics in.
From the beginning of making music, and I know Quincy can relate because it's always something. Everybody, when they know you do music, they think it's a game, and it's like, nah, do what I did. Hit up the studios around, find somebody that's willing to take you on as a client. You know what I'm saying? As far as an engineer and somebody in the studio, build up that confidence, build up your skill. You know what I mean? You got to spend that money. Like, there's no way around it. And it's like I always tell people the same thing. I'm like, I'm gonna tell you what I did, exactly what I did. Look up the studios in the area, see which one is the cheapest, because right now you just need to record. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's so funny you mentioned that because my fiance, her family was in town for the holidays, and her cousin, he plays a few instruments, piano, sax, and a few other things. And he was kind of, he was checking out the studio, and he was like, man, I really want to get to this point one day. And I was like chopping it up with him. I'm like, yo, you could start with, this was 10, 12 years of work put into this. You know what I'm saying? You can start with a laptop, I'm saying, some good headphones and a mic, and go from there. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of breaking it down to him. And even with what you just said, man, this is 10, 12 years put into this, and you want to just come in and say, oh man, let me come record. Like, bruh, you know what I'm saying? No, it's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not
that easy.
It's not that easy, bro. I'm not, and not only that, but like, people treat it as I don't know, people treat it as a hobby, which, yeah, don't get me wrong, until you're making really good money with it, technically it is that. But it's like, I'm not about to come to your job and be like, yo, let me do that report for you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, I look at it like this: archery is a hobby too, but you're not just gonna hand somebody your bow and say, hey, shoot this over there.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
Skydiving is a hobby too. You're not, hey, let me skydive with you.
Exactly.
See what's up. See what it feels like. Like, no, it doesn't work like that.
And it's the thing that even I had to learn, like, early in the game, when I was somebody that all I had was my quote unquote talent and eagerness. I had to realize that I have to bring something to the table as well for somebody to want to, give me that reciprocity that I want. You know what I mean? Like that's even like a big reason why I would bring the camera to the studio. You know what I mean? I'm working with an engineer or somebody's there, whoever. I'll take some flicks, do a little quick in-studio video because it's like, yo, I want to be able to offer you something so that next time you think of me coming through, you're gonna give me priority because he's coming correct. He's doing X, Y, and Z, and I enjoy the process. I know what he's doing is actually going to lead to something because that's another thing too.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person, like, I feel like I work with anybody if they're down to invest in themselves. Like, I'm not telling you got to put that money to me or whatever it is, but it's like, if you tell me, hey, let's record something, I got a $3,000 budget for the video and a little bit of promo and the wardrobe and stuff. That's a different story because you're putting your money where your mouth is.
Right.
And that's anything. A lot of times people are so like reserved and giving money up because they feel for some reason like they deserve it for free. Whatever the case is, they just feel like
they feel entitled.
They don't need it. Exactly. Like, nah, like I got a little bit of a talent or I got a sparkle in my eye. Somebody needs to, give me that break or whatever. Like, no, bro, like you're giving yourself the break by investing in yourself.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna happen for, and it's funny because the people that I've seen get the situation where people are opening their doors and saying, hey, don't pay me for this service, or hey, I'll do this for you just because I think you're dope. 99% of the time, those people aren't even putting in the work that the people that are paying are doing.
It's like, I think in like episode 7, way earlier in the podcast, when we mentioned that song "What a Job" that I showed you, Les. That's why I love that song so much, bro, because Andre 3000's verse on that was so, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously it's Andre 3000, so it sounds good. But what he was saying as an artist was so relatable that it's like, bro, I think one of the lyrics was like, if I come to your job and take your corn on the cob and take a couple kernels off, would that be all right with you? Like, no, it won't be all right with you. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, I don't know, man. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't understand how people in general don't just understand a universal truth of anybody that gets to any point of any success, they put the time and work in.
Yep.
At the end of the day, you need to respect that for you to be good, even decent at something, it takes a lot of work. Because even with the music, I spent a lot of time being whack, like a ridiculous amount of time just making a whole bunch of trash music. And still to this day, I make a whole bunch of trash music. You open the last 10 sessions in my computer, it's probably three decent songs, one dope one, and the other ones are unlistenable. You know what I mean? Because it's like this thing, it takes work. It takes a lot of, the song that is not coming out right. You might not get the best song out of it, or you might not even come out with that song, but you're going to learn a technique, or you're going to know what you shouldn't do. Oh man, my voice don't sound good in that key. Oh man, this kind of energy, it doesn't really fit my vibe. So next time somebody plays something like that for me, I'm going to tell them no off rip. You know what I mean? Like you learn in the failures. And that's the part.
That's what Thomas Edison said, right? It didn't take him 100 tries to make a light bulb. It took him 99 tries to figure out how to not make a light bulb. And then one try how to make one.
Exactly, man. And it's that fear of the muddy waters. You know what I'm saying? It's the fear of, is this gonna work or not work?
That's honestly, I feel like that's like when you consider work ethic, and that's pretty much a combination of what you've been talking about. It's the work ethic you have for what you do, and part of it is accepting that you're not going to get it right all the time. And it's something that I still experience in my career this late. I've been doing this shit for 20 years. And I'm humble enough to somebody tell me, hey, you didn't get it. You didn't hit the mark. And I'm like, all right, well, tell me how to hit the mark. And I bet you I hit that mark every single time from now on. And you continuously work to get to that point. And I think once you think you know everything, you know nothing anymore. And it's about knowing how to do it wrong that really contributes to how good you are at doing it right.
Yeah, man. I don't know why that reminded me of this, but something that I learned as me and Quincy kind of started moving around in music, a really big lesson that I took in was don't take any advice from anybody that's not living a life that you would want to be living. So that's something I carried with me as we, we hit different, cities, different states, interacted with different people. I'm considering the source. You know what I mean?
Can I just say a Jay-Z line real quick?
Go ahead.
Everybody want to tell you how to do it, and they never did it.
Exactly. Yep. And it's just the concept of, and even that, what you said, I don't completely agree with it, because I feel like you can kind of, we can kind of brainstorm how to figure out how to do something we haven't done, as long as we know that both of us are working to our full extent of our ability, and we're making the steps. You know what I mean?
Everybody, though. Everybody. Not those select few. Everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody.
Yeah. Overall, for sure. Overall, for sure. When you slice it, for sure. There's so many people that, I mean, even the thing about the music that I was saying earlier, so many people would like to give you, quote unquote, the game that maybe have never even been inside a studio. You know what I mean? Like that they haven't worked with anybody of note, or anybody that's actually in music, making their money off of music. You know what I mean? So it's like, what are you even talking about? What you're talking about is a taste preference.
It's like the guy that was like, yo, that song was dope, man. Next time you should do that video, kind of like that Justin Bieber video.
Facts.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like, all right, bet. You mean the video with the $1 million budget? All right, bet. I'll keep that in mind next time I shoot my video. But it's funny, man, because like, I could do with those kind of criticisms. The ones that get me is like the people that try to kind of like just change your whole direction with anything. And it's not just music. It's like you tell them an idea of a business or anything that you're doing, and they want to say, okay, pivot this way. And it's like, I'm not coming to you for you to lead me down a different path in life. I'm coming for you so you could tell me, hey, in this construct that I'm giving you, how should I operate? I'm not asking you what part, how your life would be good in this situation, because I'm not asking for you. I'm asking for me. You know what I mean? And that's another big thing that I learned, where it's like, when you're asked, like when you talk to people, really, really take in what they're saying, so that you can know if it even makes sense for you to be telling them these things. You know what I mean? Like, don't tell anybody your problems that can't help you fix them. If you're just venting just to vent, I mean, you can do that with your significant other, you can do that, to a therapist. You can do that, however you can, except for telling a whole bunch of people. Because once you're just saying it just to say it, and you're not actively trying to find a solution, you're just trying to wallow in the situation. And that's the kind of energy.
There's a lot of people in the world like that, though.
It's a big number, and that's even something that I talked about with my wife recently.
They just want to talk, and they don't want to hear solutions, and that's rough.
Yep, you go.
Yeah, it's tough for a person like me, who continuously finds solutions for every kind of problem there is. To listen to a person complain about a problem that they have no consideration finding a solution for, is
not trying to.
And bro, when you walk outside of your door, most of the people you interact with are gonna be like that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. You know what I
Majority.
mean? You think about it, you're like, wow, like there's a lot of people that really just move like this, that they've been telling the same story for 3 months, 6 months, a year, and still haven't even took one step to try to fix that situation of the story. You could have just resolved this in the first week. I'm big on that, bro. I hate things that linger. I hate, that I'm gonna hold my tongue now because it feels weird, and then I'm just gonna drag out another 3 months of something that's gonna make me like, boil up inside or something. You know what I mean? It's like I hate that.
And that's why I'm not big into astrology, but they say I'm a Cancer. Because shit, if I feel something, dog, I say it. I'm like, this doesn't sit right with my spirit. Yeah, I'm not, and I'm gonna settle that shit immediately. I don't let shit linger. I don't let anything carry on. And I think that's important. I think, but not a lot of people, like I said, you walk outside, 9 out of 10 people don't think like that at all.
Yep, and that kind of thinking also helps you kind of keep everything in your life in order, so that you can chase your goals. Make your dreams come true. Basically, you know what I mean. You write down what it is, or however it is that you do it. you figure out what are those things that you want to achieve short and long term, and you put them in action. And you can't do that efficiently if you're not tending to the rest of your life also.
Yeah.
You know, if those people that always have some kind of excuse because they got something going on, you're choosing to have something going on. You could easily say, hey, I'm going to give my energy to these things I'm not, because they're not feeding me. But people choose to wallow in the situation. And when you do that, you're always going to mess up. It's never going to lead to it's never going to lead to something better if you're letting negative things linger.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to some I think we talked about in early episodes as well. It's like I feel like every time someone has like or put themselves, or I can't say put themselves, but end up in a bad situation, you can always follow the trail back to a bad decision that you knew when you made that decision. You probably shouldn't have, you know what I'm saying, made that decision, but you went that way anyways. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some situations that are just out of our control. Like, you know what I'm saying? You discover you have cancer and you're depressed because you have cancer. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother level of, you know what I'm saying, a serious situation. But oftentimes, you know, you're in a situation where it's like, if you backtrack 4 or 5 weeks, you made a decision that you probably shouldn't have made, and now you're dealing with the consequences of that decision. You know,
and kind of going back to what you were saying just now, it's like even the people that aren't getting the terrible news of something like an illness or things like that, you know, things that you can't control. Even if you're not that person, you can still wake up every day and say, dang, I'm not that person. I need to make something happen. You know what I mean? Like, I'm blessed
There's
enough.
practices. Yeah. There's practices you can do.
Yeah, and I know I'm big on being against New Year's resolutions, because I'm really big on the concept of you should be on that all year long. You know what I mean? Like, you should already be, you know, you should have already wrapped up something and in the middle of another thing during New Year's. You know what I mean? Like, I'm real, I don't like, but at the same time, I'm not that type of person that uses symbolism and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Some people, they work better having those solid dates and things like that.
Motivates them. It motivates them. No, but like I know for sure, like one of the 3 of our goals was about our health, and all of us already deep into it way before the new year even started. So it's just about, it's not only like resolutions, it's just setting goals and setting like expectations of yourself that you want to follow through. And it's good when you tell people in your close circle, because they can hold you accountable and be like, hey, I thought you said you was going to do this. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a big part of staying consistent and committing to your stuff.
Exactly. And that's why, you know, we have the chat going, and every time we're working on new stuff, you know, you're getting your mixing situation set up, Joe, so that you can start DJing more seriously. Quincy's getting his artist situation set up as far as like all the accounts that he needs to get together just to be able to efficiently put out music and promote it. I'm in that same process of just putting out more music, and I'm building towards a goal of dropping an album at the end of the like not the end of the year of 2023, but like towards the second half. You know what I mean? Anytime from like after July on, you know. And just we've been keeping this energy and motion on going, and we're just gonna keep continuing to carry it into the new year. And I just wanted to kind of stress the fact that having those short and long-term goals helps you like not waste time. I was listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson on Theo Vaughn's podcast. I just started listening to it. It's funny as hell. But I was hearing him on there, and he was using kind of like the analogy of like prisoners when they're in prison and they're putting an X over the day, because, you know, that's one more day until they get to freedom. And he looks at it like a life thing. Like, every time you're Xing a day out, that's one day closer that you are to death. You know what I mean? So it's like, are you making the most of it? You know what I mean? Like, it's like something that people say also, not people say, but it's like a saying. I don't know who said it, but the thing where you have 2 lives, like your life and then your life after you realize you only have 1 life.
Yeah.
It's like kind of along that
Everybody
line.
who had the greatest lives ever is when they had a like almost near death experience and they changed their life, kind of shit. And it shouldn't take that for you to just flip that switch.
Yeah, I feel like it's also like an energy thing, a consistency of energy and affirmation. You know, changing your own thinking. Like people don't give enough credit to their mind, how much of a part it plays, and even just how the world seems to
Yeah.
you. You know what I mean? Like, because I know when I was in a darker place as a person when I was younger, the world was darker to me. You know what I mean? Like it didn't feel like the world that I'm in now because I'm at such a peaceful place that everything just seems so full of life now. You know what I mean?
And that's big time. That's something that's that self-realization. Like you say, you talk about that a lot. That's it, like when you realize, and it's hard to say. It's hard to say like how it could be worse, but at the same time, for you personally, you specifically, the person who you are considering this to be, think about your situation. Think about how worse it could be, and you start. And I posted, I think it was like Robin Williams quote from Good Will Hunting, which is one of my favorite movies ever. He's like, "You'll have bad times, but that just shines light on how good things are outside of that." Like big for real, you that realization, and I feel and you're not going to wake up every day with that, but the longer you work to remind yourself of that, it's something that'll help keep you going, kind of that aspect.
Yeah, man. And kind of going back to what we were talking about with the goals and just keeping at it, I wouldn't be able to sustain this mindset if I wasn't putting in that daily work and realizing how important the days are. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not the type of person that says, work all the time. That's not me at all because I'm real big on family. I love spending time with my kids, my wife. I love being at home, working on the garden. I'm not the type of person that I want to be putting in overtime. You know what I mean? But I'm purposeful with my time. I'm making sure I'm being efficient with my time. I'm doing a lot of multitasking so I can eliminate having to do, things into late hours. I just knock them all out at the same time as much as I can. And it's something that I'm super conscious of. And I know that's how it helps me operate my best. For other people, it might not be that situation. Cool. Whenever you're working on something or whenever you're just working towards your goals or whatever situation that you're trying to get out of, you got to change that mindset. You got to get into what you're doing, but you also got to figure out how can I sustain this long term? Maybe for you, working overtime is something that you can sustain long term. You can do that because it's something that just works with your body rhythms. It's something that puts you at ease. That's how you have to approach it. Maybe you're the type of person that you like to take a little more laid back approach, then you take that more laid back approach. But whatever you got to do, you got to realize that you're the person that has to live out these things. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like the thing that Mike was talking about when we talked to him. It's like he was executing a plan that he didn't even consider, is this the plan that I want for me? Is this something that long term is going to fulfill me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a great episode, man. If y'all haven't heard that episode, please tap in.
Yeah, Mike went in on that. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Yeah, man. And so Quincy, like I know you got something going on as far as a new business venture. I know you're working on the music, obviously. You want to tap into a little bit of that before we wrap up?
Yeah, for sure, man. So yeah, I basically have started my short-term rental business called Affluent Escapes. So right now, I basically gotten everything situated. I'm just in the process of working with what do you call it, a landlord, and just securing my first location. Once I've secured that first location, at that point, it's just replicating the business over and over again. But that's kind of what I'm working on right now. So
the website's up, the Instagram's up.
Yeah, stayaffluent.com and Affluent Escapes on all social medias. Yeah, so with that being said, man, I'm just excited about that. And hopefully within the next few weeks, I've been doing some tours and working with landlords. But at the end of the day, landlords they see the risk, and you just got to find the right person that's willing to kind of work with that. And so it's just trial and error and not being afraid of no's. When you're afraid of no, you're not going to get a yes. So,
and that goes back to putting in the work and getting, committing to getting better at it.
Facts.
You know what I mean? You getting in the door and you're figuring out, you're seeing the signs. The failures are teaching you.
Yeah,
and that's everything that we're talking about. And I know Joe's, you've had a lot of professional growth in this past year. You've excelled in your career, and now you're kind of trying to tap in more back into the creative side and more of the stuff that just brings you happiness outside of work. So like, what's the kind of things you got going on and something you want to focus on coming up?
I got a great response. You know, I finally shared with my on the social network that I got my turntables back, and it was a great response because I still follow a lot of people that I've known for a long time, and people who I've known during my DJ phases. And like there were people like, "Yo, do you remember when you DJed my party?" I had DMs like, "You remember when you DJed this? Remember when we did this?" Like I did so much, and just brought it back. How the support is still there, and all I got to do is just learn the game. I'm learning my equipment. I'm learning how to improve, and even got a shout out from Mega Charles' brother. He literally said, he's like, "Yo, whenever I have my wedding, you can DJ it if you're serious." And I was like, "Yeah, you know what? I might get to the point where when that wedding comes along, that I might hit it up." So that just kind of motivates me more, and it influences me to really put together something that a lot of people are supporting me to do, which is mixes. Now we got the reels. I want to put out some reels of me blending. And I want to put out, like I used to put out mixtapes, man. I have a bunch of mixtapes. Everybody always looks to me for playlists and music, and I'm gonna provide it. I'm gonna provide the vibes, and I'm gonna provide the tracks and the playlists and the mood setters. And that's 2023 is just nothing but putting that out there. And everybody who supports, I'm happy, and I thank y'all, and I'll be out there for y'all.
One last thing I want to say, because of something that you touched on just now, Joe. If you are a person that has the support of others when you're working on things, you cannot let that slide, because it is so hard to have people behind you and genuinely wanting for you to succeed and genuinely want to support that journey. So that's one, like, I know a big quote that you always like to share, Joe, is the Bronx Tale quote. Was it Bronx Tale? The worst thing in the world is wasted talent.
Yeah, the saddest thing in this life is wasted
Yes,
talent.
exactly. It's kind of the same. Like for me, the saddest thing is like when I see somebody that I know people are rooting for, and they fumble as far as they don't put in the work to make, you know what I mean, to justify
And
those
it's not
people's
hard
support.
work. It's just coming through with it.
hmm
Just
It's like you got to
consistent work.
justify the support that people giving you by respecting them enough to say,
Mental.
"Hey, you're putting that faith in me. I'm gonna give you a reason to have that faith." You know what I mean? It's a give and take. It's like we were talking about earlier. You got to have something to offer for somebody to give you that, whatever it is that you want.
For sure, man.
But yeah, man, we wanted to kind of get a little more in depth with this episode, just because New Year's coming, and just kind of carrying that energy of you know doing new things, taking your life to the next level. What are those things that you got to put on your list as far as improvements go? Because we all got them, you know what I mean? And until you can't be scared of the mud. You know what I'm saying? That muddy water, that's where the growth happens. And everybody just make sure y'all stay grounded, keep being tapped in. We've been having a lot of dope things going on, and just the growth has been super dope, and we've kind of just locked in on the content, and the way people have been responding. We're kind of looking at it like this: we're going to operate as a if you know type podcast. You know what I mean? We're going to put it out there, let y'all know what's going on. And if you catch the gems, you catch the gems. Some people won't. You know what I mean? It's kind of like we were talking about earlier. When you go outside, a lot of times there's a lot of people that just ain't on the same wavelength as you. And we're trying to connect with those people that are on that same wavelength.
Yep. And we know there are plenty of them out there.
Facts, man. Anything y'all want to say before we get off?
Man, stay tuned, man. Quincy Jamal got some music coming out, and
The boy.
you feel me?
Yeah.
So
honestly, the three of us in general have an amazing amount of support individually, just because of the kind of people we are. Collectively, we're trying to put all that support together and continue it, and make sure we all like I said on Facebook, maintain our integrity and maintain what the show's about, and the message that we send, and the image we portray. And that's what everything that we do is going to involve that. And that's what we're going to keep going. Stay grounded.
Exactly. Stay butter.